Hi, I'm Rabbi Michael Barclay, and welcome to the Rabbi's Table, a place of dialogue, not debate, a place where we can disagree without being disagreeable, a place where we are blessed to have icons in the social, religious, political, cultural world to come have real dialogue, to try and change the world and make it a better place. And I am really excited that today we have a dear, dear friend, a brother from another mother, a man that I have the greatest of respect and love and treasure so, so much, Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez. Bishop is just a phenomenal human being on so many levels. He has started over 40 churches. He organizes the Los Angeles Mayor's Interfaith Annual Breakfast. He's the president of an organization called Churches for Action, which is over 2,000 churches that help the needy and the destitute in this country, around the world. He does so, so much good in so many ways. He's met with presidents. He's met with popes. Or I should say they've met with him because they're the ones who are blessed with it. And we're so grateful that today at the Rabbi's Table, we get to have Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez to share his wisdom. And we're doing this on Easter Sunday in the middle of Passover so we can talk about religion, all those topics we don't normally talk about, religion, politics, all those things with a man that I truly consider a dear friend and a man that I love very, very much. And we're blessed to have the bishop here. I've been blessed to travel all over the world. I have to be honest. One of my favorite places to go, especially with my family, is up to Reno, and specifically up to the Atlantis Resort up in Reno. It is beautiful. It's an amazing hotel, amazing restaurants. Reno's this fabulous little city. It really is the biggest little city in the world. You can go in the spring or the summer to Lake Tahoe. You can ski in the winter. Everything is up there. And I want to recommend that you go to Atlantis Casino and Resort. Go atlantiscasino.com, ATLANTIS, casino.com. Make your reservation. Spend a couple of days or a week up there. I promise you'll be happy about it. I know that I always am whenever we go up. I'm so grateful to have my friend here right now at our table. Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez, thank you so much for being here and joining us. And during this holy time, this really, really holy time. We've had a lot of great experiences together.
Yes, we have.
And I am so blessed to be able to call you my brother from another mother.
You know, the other day I was remembering our time with the Dodgers for opening day.
So for those people who don't know, the Dodgers were going to honor a drag queen group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I wrote an article about it, and it ended up becoming a rally. Mm-hmm. Thank God that a lot of us were protesting, and we had a rally saying this is just wrong.
Exactly.
And not about their sexuality, but as much as about the fact that they're using crucifixes for sexual objects and things like that, and being in drag.
And dressing, like the ladies that dedicate their whole lives to service in hospitals and orphanages and schools, and to make a mockery of our faith was very sad.
It was.
We have to respect one another, and that was very disrespectful. So thank you for coming out and supporting the Christian community.
No, I believe that the Messiah is going to come. I'm going to say welcome. You're going to say welcome back, and we're all going to accept.
Yes,
we're all accepting. So we got this Passover, Easter. Most Jews don't know about Passover. I'm going to guess most Christians don't really know about Easter in a lot of ways. So in 30 seconds, Passover is a story of freedom. Okay, in 30 seconds, Passover is the story. We were slaves. We were in Egypt. We had become slaves to so many things, including to assimilation. God did miracles, and we became free. That is the essence of Pesach, of Passover, it's a meta-historical holiday. We are still slaves, and we still need to become free of things. And that's really the essence of the Passover. 30 seconds, the essence of Easter.
For us, Easter and Passover go together because we look at both Passover and resurrection is redemption. That it's a divine act. What happened with the Jews in the time of Moses, and also what happened with Jesus. And so it's a lamb on one side, and it's a lamb, for us. Jesus Christ is the Lamb of God.
Right, that's beautiful. So that in the same way that the Hebrews put the lamb's blood on the doorposts, Jesus gave his blood for all of humanity.
Correct.
So first of all, I got a question that I know a lot of Jews have, and a lot of Christians probably have as well. Can you please explain? Our calendar is a lunar calendar, the Hebrew calendar, which is why, and then it's every number of years we have a leap month, so that Passover is always in the spring. Easter changes dates, but that's Can you explain how this is a different calendar because it's a combination of lunar and solar? Can you just briefly explain? Because people get so confused by this.
Well, the lunar and the solar, and it was changed by one of the popes that decided that it was more appropriate for the Christian holidays to be celebrated. And it changes. Christmas changes. Easter changes. So it never falls on the same.
So Lent begins. The 7-week period begins. Easter is the full moon after a full moon during equinox or something like that.
That's correct.
Okay.
And it changes, but sometimes we will celebrate Passover with Jews on the same day.
This year. Yeah. The Passover Seder begins on Wednesday night of Holy Week. It's a Holy Wednesday.
Correct.
Right. So what is it that you think that the Jews, and we'll talk later about my love of Easter and my relationship with what the holiday is on a spiritual level, but what is it that you think is the biggest thing that non-Christians, Jews, atheists, or uneducated Christians, that they misunderstand, that they're getting wrong? I mean, obviously, it's not about chocolate-covered eggs or a bunny rabbit, but what is what's the biggest thing that people don't get and they're missing about Easter?
For us, Easter, it falls on the first day of the week, which is for us Sunday, not the seventh day. The seventh day is Saturday. And so for us, Jesus Christ rose on the first day of the week. And when we come on Sundays to celebrate our services, we're celebrating his resurrection. So every Sunday, we're celebrating Jesus' resurrection. It is just, that Easter is that special first day of the week out of the year.
Wait, so if Sunday is the first weekday of the week, Sunday is actually not the Sabbath? So Saturday is the Sabbath for Christians?
Correct.
Oh, interesting. So Sabbath Gloria is a Sabbath on Saturdays, and
yes,
Sunday is the beginning of the new cycle. Oh, how interesting! I never knew that.
That's correct. And so every Sunday we come to celebrate Jesus' resurrection. So for Christians, when they gather on Sundays, we're celebrating his resurrection.
As opposed to we celebrate on Saturday, the end of the week, the day of rest when God rested.
Right.
Oh, fascinating.
And so the early Christians, and you look at the New Testament, the early Christians, they celebrated Sabbath, Saturday nights, in anticipation of Sunday morning, which was, the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
So Charlie Kirk was right when he started celebrating Sabbath on Saturdays from a Christian point of view.
Yes.
Oh, that's fabulous. I did not know that. So there's a lot of anti-Semitism in the world. Mm-hmm. One of the places that it manifests is the misunderstanding of Passover, that, God forbid, there's blood used in matzah. There isn't. The Book of Leviticus prohibits from even being around blood. Our meat has to be salted and drained entirely. I can't eat steak tartare. But one of the misconceptions is that about Passover. One of the misconceptions is that we do sacrifices on Passover. We don't. That's these are misconceptions about Pesach, about the Passover.
But when did you stop doing the sacrifices?
When the temple was destroyed.
That was year 70?
Yeah. When the temple was destroyed, all the laws regarding temple worship were also.
So when Titus came in and destroyed the temple, that's when the sacrifices.
You couldn't do it anymore.
Okay.
It became a sacrifice of the heart as opposed to a sacrifice physically.
Okay.
So what's the biggest misconception that uneducated Christians, that anyone has about Easter? What are the big misconceptions about Easter, besides the fact that President Biden was ridiculous with his eggs and his rabbit and all that? What's the real big misconceptions?
Easter for us has different meanings. On Easter, many Christians around the world will get up before sunrise and have a sunrise service. And you probably will see it all over Los Angeles. And we will have many services in cemeteries, Forest Lawn, Rose Hills, because we will be celebrating the resurrection, not only of Jesus Christ, but the resurrection of all the people that have died in the Lord. And so, for us, Easter has a very powerful meaning because we're just in anticipation of the glorious resurrection of all the ones that have preceded us in death.
So it's actually more important theologically than Christmas, isn't it?
Very much, because at Christmas we celebrate his birth, but at Easter we celebrate his resurrection, and it's a joyous day because we will be celebrating with our families the fact that one day all those people that have departed from us, we will gather again and we will celebrate.
That's beautiful.
The resurrection. So this is something that many, even some Christians, don't know.
I've never heard that. And I taught at a Catholic university and I never heard it. So that's beautiful. Can someone understand? Can someone really celebrate Easter and not understand anything about Passover?
If we don't understand Passover, we really don't understand Easter. So it is important for our pastors and for our faith leaders in the Christian community to celebrate Passover, because we do celebrate Passover in the communion table.
Right. This halachma anya. This is the bread of affliction.
Yes.
So we're going to keep talking a little bit about Passover and Easter, and I'm just again so grateful that you're here hanging out together. It really is a blessing, and I've already learned stuff from you about Easter that I've never known. So we're going to continue this dialogue a little bit more about both Pesach and Easter with Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez.
Thank you.
If you like what you're seeing and hearing at the Rabbi's Table, I invite you to subscribe and to follow us on any of your podcast mediums, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, whatever it is. You can just follow us. You'll get all the latest information, special information from us, special segments of podcasts. You can also go to pound 250. You can go on your cell phone, dial pound 250. When the recording comes up, say, find my podcast. It will ask you what podcast, say the Rabbi's Table. And from then on, you will always get our podcast, our show, directly to your phone. So I invite you to sit with me, with our guests, with the different icons, and join us by being part of the podcast, part of the group, part of the community at the Rabbi's Table. So we're so blessed to have my friend Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez to join us at the Rabbi's Table and talking about Passover and Easter during this holy time. So for us, like pretty much all the Jewish holidays, Passover is a meta-historical holiday. Okay, this event happened thousands of years ago. And we got free, and we were slaves, and then we became free. But we're also, it's true today, too, because at the Passover table, we discuss things like, what are we slaves to today? When we take a little bit of wine out of each glass for each of the 10 plagues, and then in our community and in many communities, people also take a little bit of wine saying, okay, what are the modern plagues of today? Fascism, transgender dysphoria, whatever they may be. So it's really a meta-historical. And one word to identify the holidays, freedom. Is Easter meta-historical? Is it more than just, you mentioned that it is both the resurrection of Christ and also the resurrection of our loved ones. Is there any other aspects about the new spring coming, the new birth, however you want to phrase it, that's an integral part of the Easter celebration, the Lent time?
Well, the Easter celebration has evolved into being what it is now, that it's more of a pagan celebration for many, even in the Christian tradition, because people are forgetting the real symbol of Easter. But I've celebrated Easter, like, for example, I was in Russia celebrating Easter with the Christians in Russia, which is celebrated 1 week after we celebrated here in the United States and in Latin America, because the Orthodox have a different calendar. Now, what they do is they get up in the morning and they go from home to home, and they knock on the door and they say, Christ is risen, Christos Vasquez, Christos Vasquez, Christos Vasquez. And then they all gather together in their churches to celebrate Easter, and it's a joyous celebration. Here in America, we have lost. A lot of people will do picnics that day. People will have the ham and the turkey and forget the real meaning of Easter. And so it's important that we talk about the importance of Easter. Why we're just not celebrating the bunny and the chocolates. We're celebrating a truly historical and important holiday for Christians. It's not just the meal.
No, you make the great comment that every Sunday you're celebrating his resurrection as well.
Right.
It's not about getting a male bunny rabbit to lay colored chocolate eggs.
No. And it's very upsetting for people like myself when I see the syncretism of paganism customs into a real Christian holiday that has been celebrated for 2,000 years.
So I know a lot of tribal traditions, and we'll talk about this later as well in the podcast section. I know a lot of tribal traditions. They actually, Saturday night at midnight, they send off fireworks and everything else, and they say he is risen. So it's not even knocking on the door. They actually fireworks go off, and the church bell goes off, and it's this big spectacle. So Jesus, we're taught that Jesus, the Passover, the Last Supper was a Passover Seder. Okay, and he actually, part of the Passover Seder is we have wine, and we also say halach ma'anya, it's Aramaic. This is the bread, and it's held up, and he took it to another step. Can a Christian really, we know Jesus celebrated Passover. What do you think most Christians are missing by not knowing, or what do they need to know about Passover so their Easter can be more deep for them?
Well, to me, a lot of Christians have grown up very lazy, not reading the Word.
Not just Christians.
But I can speak about the Christians.
Well, let me just add Jews, and especially teenagers, but we'll go on.
Because in order for us to have this beautiful tradition in our church, we have to look at Exodus. And we look at Exodus and we see that our faith is founded on a historical event that took place hundreds of years before Jesus comes into the picture, when the people who were slaves in Egypt, there was a divine intervention. Divine intervention, because you see everything that God did in order to free the people out of Egypt, and so when we understand that part, we also understand why Jesus celebrated that, because it's both a physical but also a spiritual experience to be free, like you said, from our sins, and also. In both experiences, you see the blood. You see the blood, that it's a central element to the passport.
The blood has another meaning for us.
Okay.
So it has the meaning of the sacrifice, number one.
Okay. It
also has a meaning of, it was an act of rebellion, because they all had faith. It's easy to have faith if you don't have action, right? But they all were willing to have faith and act upon it by putting blood on their doorposts. If the next day the firstborn had not died, you could be guaranteed that every Hebrew household, the Egyptians would have come and killed everybody that had blood on their door. So it's about action and commitment as well as faith. And there's an element of action in Easter, isn't there, that is often missing in the way that people celebrate it today? I mean, there is a real element beyond just saying I have faith. There's action as well, and I know you do a lot of good actions.
Well, in our Christian tradition, I don't like it when people say, "Well, we're in the Quaresma period, the 40 days, and I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to fornicate." Well, we should live under under those guidelines the whole year, not just for 40 days. That sacrifice shouldn't be for 40 days. It should be for the 365 days out of the year.
We should live a better life. I heard a great thing once from a pastor, was it a pastor or a priest, who said that another choice on Lent is not giving up something, but rather taking on something new, taking on a new quality. I'm going to give charity every day. I'm going to learn this, whatever it means. I always thought that was really a beautiful thing. So for a Jew, you meet a Jew who knows nothing about Easter. What's the one teaching that you share with them? What's the one thing that you want to get, that you want their heart, their soul, their mind to understand about Easter?
That the both are divine interventions. When you look at Passover and you look at the resurrection, you look at God in action, because we see Jesus being raised from the dead, and Jesus was a Jew. His mother was a Jew, and the early church was Jewish, and all the different practices of the beautiful Jewish traditions are part of the Christian church.
Well, let's talk about it for a sec. So I know that Easter is celebrated different ways in different cultures. In Judaism, I don't know if you're aware of this, in Judaism, so the Passover Seder is always expanding. It's always changing, and there's some great customs. There's a custom that if you're around Persian Jews, that when they're talking about being slaves, they whip each other with scallions.
Wow.
Which, by the way, really stains their clothing, but they whip each other with the scallions. There's a tradition that some people have of putting an orange on the Seder plate, because a number of years ago, Abraham Joshua Heschel's daughter, Susanna Heschel, was speaking about female rabbis, and someone said, a woman belongs in the pulpit like an orange belongs on the Seder plate. So feminists started putting oranges on the Seder plate. There are different traditions. There's different foods that are brought in for the Passover Seder. What are some, I know some of them, but what are a couple of really great different cultural observances of Easter?
Like I mentioned, for some Christians, cake is very important on Easter.
Any particular kind of cake? Or?
No, it's whatever you like. The
Jews, we're always very,
it's strawberry shortcake. But I've seen the Ashkenazis and the Sephardics. They're Jews, but there's differences. Same thing with the Christians. You look at the Catholic Christians; they celebrate in a certain way. You look at the Baptist Christians; they celebrate it in a different way. For Catholics, Good Friday seems to be the high holiday, and for the Baptists, Easter is the high holiday.
So let me get it straight. For the Catholics, it's more about the darkness of his death, but for the Baptists, it's more about the joy of his resurrection. That just says everything right there, doesn't it?
It really does, doesn't it? And so you're talking about differences.
Yeah, no, and we're going to talk a little bit more about those differences.
You will see Catholic churches on Good Friday packed to the.
And they won't be there on Easter Sunday.
And Easter Sunday it's not as crowded as Good Friday. But you will see the Baptist churches with a mile long of cars. You go to Shepherd of the Hills, which is the closest Baptist church in this area here, and you will see traffic jams.
So I got a quick question for you, and we're going to go more into this, but a very quick question because of timing and stuff. You've been doing Easter your whole life. What part still, including Lent, what part still gives you the chills? The one piece that if someone... they don't know anything about Easter, but they're going to come to one thing.
To me, it's when the angel tells the women, "Why are you seeking Jesus amongst the dead? He is risen."
It's beautiful.
And when we say those words during the homily, people cry.
It's a beautiful statement
because that's something that gives people hope.
And hope is what it's all about in so many ways.
And so you will see the mothers, you will see the elderly, thinking of their own death, of what's imminent.
We're going to talk about that in a moment as we return, and as we keep talking with Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez here at the Rabbi's Table. It's just such a blessing for you to be here. As we all know, there's been a war going on in Israel for over 2 years. And one of the places that's doing so much healing and so much work is the Bnei Zion Hospital in Haifa in Israel. They're one of the top rehab facilities in the world, and where all of the victims from the north go, and many from other places throughout the country, go up to Bnei Zion in Haifa. They built a nuclear-proof bunker and put a hospital inside of it. They finished that project in July of 23, and then the war started with Hamas terrorizing and kidnapping and killing so many people on October 7th, and it's been horrible since then. Today, we have this war going on with Iran and Hezbollah, where all these wounded are going to Bnei Zion Hospital, and the hospital needs your help. The hospital needs to raise funds so they can provide more facilities. They can provide more medicine, more healing for the many people, Jews, Christians, Catholics, Druze, Muslims, all the people who have been bombed, hurt, injured. We need to help them, and you can make a difference. And I really want to invite you to. Go to healthcareforisrael.org. That's healthcareforisrael.org. Make a donation. I'm a rabbi, but rarely can I say that I've been involved in saving someone's physical life. When I've made donations to this hospital, when I've raised money for the hospital, that money goes directly and saves human lives. Rarely can any of us say that we've done that. I am begging you, I am pleading with you, please go to Healthcare for Israel. Save some lives. Every dollar, every dime that you donate is both tax deductible, but every dime goes straight to the hospital for its good work. Again, that's Healthcare for Israel. Support Israel by doing this. Support Bnei Zion Hospital. Support humanity. And make a difference by healing and saving lives. So this is the part of the Rabbi's Table that is only for podcast listeners. It's not on the radio station. It's where we're a little bit more free form, and so to speak. And I'm just so grateful you're here, Bishop. It's such a blessing. You talk about hope. We're just talking about hope a little bit, and about faith. We know a lot about each other's backgrounds and experiences, and you are blessing. You bless me all the time.
Praise God.
I will tell you one of the best compliments I ever got when I was teaching at Loyola Marymount. And I taught Hebrew scriptures and I taught Introduction to Judaism. One of the best compliments I ever got was that people came out of my class saying that they were more committed to their faith of Christianity or Catholicism. Because that's really important to me. God made them a Christian, God made them a Catholic. I want them to be the best Christian, the best Catholic, to accept Jesus in their heart, etc. I think part of what allowed that is my experiences of Easter. I have for 35 plus years spent time on with an indigenous people, indigenous tribe, for the Quaresma ceremonies. I used to go back for multiple weekends. Now I have a larger family. I can't afford to go back multiple weekends during Lent. I just go for Holy Week. And experience the way that they were taught. They had been doing ceremonies of winter turning to spring, evil being defeated by good. They had prophecies of Jesus. And so they just embraced that and overlaid it on their tradition. And so they have things that are clearly their native tradition, things that are clearly Catholic from 500 years ago, and clearly integrated in mestizo. And it really changed who I am as a human being in terms of the appreciation, not only of the culture, and I have multiple godsons, as you know, Mechados there on the reservation, but it really, to see the beauty of Easter, because being a Jew living in the San Fernando Valley, I had grown up, Easter was bunny rabbits and chocolate eggs. To see the power, the beauty, and the processionals, where they go all around the processionals. They're long, and they're hot, and they're tired, and it goes all day and all night, especially on Good Friday. And then the crucifixion processional, and the Lansing processional, and then Sabbath.
Have you ever seen the ones in Latin America where they carry the statues?
They carry statues.
These are heavy statues that they carry throughout the town.
So they do this. They have big 8-foot cross, leading some processionals. They have Mary or Jesus icon statues.
And the 12 stations of the cross.
On all the stations, and they say the prayers, and they're carrying them. 4 men are carrying them, a platform that holds the large statue. It made me appreciate another faith tradition, as opposed to being, this Jew from the valley, at the deepest of levels.
Amen.
The very deepest of levels. It is one of the blessings of my life that I'm able to be there. And it's one of the blessings of my life that they allow me to be there and to be part of this experience. And when I've gone to other church services, I've been to a number of different Catholic services over the years, not quite as inspirational as this traditional service on reservation, but I was blessed to be at a service with you that I absolutely loved. And you know how much I loved it, because it was a traditional, you wouldn't call it Baptist, you would call it, it's not really evangelical. What's the right term? Pentecostal?
No, it was just a Baptist-costal.
It was beautiful. There was so much passion and joy and love in the room, and it was just fabulous to me. It was just, you know how much I loved it.
Yeah,
okay?
yes.
Because it was very clear to me there are people being touched by God.
Amen.
Okay. So
I wanted to interject something, because you were talking about the beautiful Catholic tradition that is carrying the statues, and
that's hard,
and it's very difficult. In the Baptist tradition, which is another group of Christians, we're divided between Roman Catholics and Baptists around the world. The main difference is one baptism is by throwing, water at you, and the other one is going inside the water. But in the Baptist tradition, Good Friday, it's about the words that Jesus pronounced on the cross.
Which were?
Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Mother, here's your son. Speaking to John the apostle, and into thy hands I commit my spirit.
Such a beautiful statement.
And just those 7 words have such a powerful meaning, and that's what you will see in a lot of the Baptist churches on Good Friday.
So that phrase is often used in a song that's at the end of many temples' Shabbat services. Into your hand. I have my soul, and I will not fear. You hold my hand. So I've had deep altering experiences in the Christian, by being at Christian experiences, and willing to open my heart to them. And to say, okay, this is God's present here. There's not a question in my mind. It's not my tradition, but that doesn't mean I don't recognize the beauty and experience the beauty and love and divinity. Can you talk about any moments where so that's for me as a Jew with Christian tradition, can you talk about any moments that you've had where Judaism deepened your own experiences?
I've had many, and I want to talk about the one when after October 7th, I went to your synagogue, and you opened the Torah, and such a
Simchat Torah. In our tradition, in our temple, we put everyone and we wrap everyone in the Torah, and everyone points to one word, and whatever that word is, that's your kavanah, that's your intention for the next year.
And to me, that's one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had in a synagogue. And I've given little sermons at different synagogues and temples throughout the world. But that experience was very powerful, because the Lord spoke to me about resurrection.
You want to talk about that? I didn't know if you want to go there or not there.
Well,
if you're cool with talking about it, I'm totally good with it.
I'm good with it. And so, that night, October 7th, the Lord spoke to me about resurrection. And
so just back up so people understand. You wrap it in the Torah, you pick a word, and the word meant to rise up.
You translated that word for me, because I don't know Hebrew, so I didn't know what. But the Lord spoke to me about resurrection. And February 26, 2025, I collapsed and died in according to the witnesses, because I wasn't.
You weren't in the building.
Yeah, I wasn't in the building. I was gone for 2 minutes.
And there's film footage of this. Can people watch the film footage anywhere?
Yes.
Where could someone watch that?
If they go to churchesinaction.net, they can watch the video there.
Which they should go to anyhow and support the church. So.
Yes, and that was so powerful, because the Lord spoke to me at that that place. It was a holy moment where the presence of God was there, and the Lord spoke to me, being a Gentile in a Jewish setting.
Yeah, it's. I really love when we do that and people get. And I think your word was aliyah, was to go up, to rise up, and which is effectively in the Christian tradition. It's resurrection. I get that, and it's really I think it's beautiful. One of my problems with Judaism is that the rabbis have tried to make Judaism rabbi-centric as opposed to God-centric. The Torah is for everybody. It's not just for the rabbis. And everybody meaning all the Jews, but all people in the world.
And I think that for me, I've taken up to 700 people in one group to Israel.
Wow.
I've had 747s packed with Christians.
Wow.
And 20 buses.
You can't get 700 Jews to agree on anything to go to Israel. So that's...
And so, when we go to these holy sites in Israel, when we go to the Tomb of David and we go to the Wailing Wall and we go to all these holy places in Israel, it connects Christianity to Judaism in a powerful way. And
let's talk about that.
Because it's important for Christians to know that without the Jewish faith, we have no religion.
So let's talk about this in the next segment, which is a radio segment, about your experiences with Israel. I think one of the things that is important to me, and I think important to you, people need to realize that God is not monolithic and can be found anywhere and everywhere. If we open our hearts together, we can have peace, and I can have a transcendent experience in a church, and you can have a transcendent experience in a synagogue. And I think that's, maybe if we accepted all that, maybe we got better.
And for me, it's been very, very important for my faith to stand with Israel. And I have really felt the presence of the Lord as I have done this.
We're going to get into that
I've
now. I've
seen his seal of approval.
It is the Heckscher seal of approval. So we're going to take this out of the podcast segment and return to the radio station, return to the radio show, and continue with Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez. One of the greatest places that I know of to go to, whether it's for a day, a week, or even a little longer, is a vacation up in Reno, specifically at the Atlantis Resort and Casino in Reno. It's amazing up there, and it's a little gem of Reno that is often just ignored. I go up there with my family. There's wintertime skiing. There's summertime at the Lake Tahoe. And the Atlantis Resort and Casino is an amazing place to stay. Not only are the rooms beautiful, amazing views, but some of the restaurants are the best restaurants in the country, the Napa Bistro, different places that you can eat. There's an indoor pool. So you can go skiing in the morning and then go swimming in the afternoon. I really want to recommend to you to check out the Atlantis Resort. It's at atlantiscasino.com. That's atlantiscasino.com, ATLANTIS casino.com. It's up in Reno. I promise you, and I've been there, I promise you, you're going to have an amazing time. You won't be able to wait till you get back. Go visit it. Go see Reno. It's the greatest little city in the world. Go have some fun at the Atlantis. So we're here at the Rabbi's Table with Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez, and we've been talking about Passover, we've been talking about Easter, and those are all important holidays. It's also important to realize that these holidays are alive and these religions are alive, especially in Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel. So I'm a Zionist, okay? I am a Zionist. This is the Jewish homeland. It's promised to our culture. It's an everlasting covenant. I believe that wholeheartedly. And we have a tie to the land. Like any indigenous culture, they have a tie to their land. People who say that Jews are colonizers are absolutely crazy. We have cemeteries that are over 3,000 years old in Israel. The mosque was built on top of the ruins of the temple. So
that's correct.
We're there. So that's why I'm a Zionist, okay? And we're both passionate about America, and we both consider ourselves, I think, patriots. You're a Christian Zionist. You're an American Christian Zionist. I think that's not fair, but it's not large enough, but that's one of the descriptions. Why?
I stand with the nation, the state of Israel. I've been lecturing to some of our pastors about Rachel, and the tomb of Machpelah.
Which,
And,
God willing, we're going to visit this summer. Yeah.
and I've said, look at the dates.
So I'm going to back up just for a second so people understand this. In Hebron, there's called the Cave of Machpelah. And in this cave, this tomb, which was purchased by Abraham, we have the burial spots of Abraham, Sarah, Rebecca, Isaac, Jacob, and Leah. And Rachel is actually Rachel's tomb is in a different place.
Yes.
But this is Cave Machpelah. This is the holy places
yes.
that we all have.
Yes.
So for all of us, it's a sacred site. So
and so when you look at the where Bethlehem is, where you look at Machpelah, you look at all these holy sites. This is not from yesterday. This is from thousands of years ago, and so. I started my journey with my spiritual mentor, who was Mr. Reverend Harold Bredesen, and he brought Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin to Camp David for the peace accords in 1978. And so he told me, he said, "Son, I want you to continue to stand with the state of Israel." And that has been a passion of mine, to continue to stand with the state of Israel, because when people talk about May 14, 1948, they have no idea that Israel has a history long before that, because Jesus was born 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem,
which was Israel.
Which was Israel, and this idea of Palestine, it's so ludicrous. It's like me saying it's a small world, and my home is in Disneyland. I mean, it's fantasy, and people don't understand history. They don't understand what has happened in thousands of years of history. And I've been a student of Eastern civilization and Western civilization. And when you look at Eastern civilization, you see that Israel has always been there.
I was called by a student to get involved in a high school that is teaching in their AP history class that it was always Palestine until it was, this is what they're teaching, and there's a video of it, until it was colonized by the Germans, who couldn't control it, lost it to the Brits, and in 1917 it was still the British protectorate of Palestine. It's always been Palestine. And then they say that in 1947 there was a partition, which was never accepted, never happened, and they show these maps that this is Palestine becomes smaller and smaller, and here's how it was smaller in 1948, and here's how it is today. It was a total rewriting of history. The reality is the area's always been Israel. The Romans called it after the destruction of the Second Temple. They wanted to rename it. They called the entire region Philistania, not just Israel, but Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt. And that kept getting passed down through the Ottoman Empire. But there's never been a country, a king, a currency, a stamp, or anything else. So Palestine.
And I met with Yasser Arafat December of 1999 when we saw.
How was that?
It was very interesting. But let me tell you, in December of 1999, I had Christmas dinner with Yasser Arafat to celebrate the millennium. But then that was the millennium celebration, and I had just come from meeting with King Abdullah in Jordan, because he had received the Prince of Peace Award for his efforts in bringing peace to the Middle East. And I said, Yasser, they're giving you land in Jordan. I said, you're not even, from Israel.
He's Egyptian.
You're Egyptian. and so people don't understand history, Rabbi.
So so I am a Jew, I'm an American.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Zionist, I'm an American, and I believe that Israel is the front line of defense in a war against Western civilization. America is the last line. I believe it's an integral and important partnership. And we need to realize that as Americans, Israel is the front line against the crazy Islamic extremist stuff. So how do you dance and integrate your patriotism? You do so much for the community, for the city, for the state, for the nation, and your Zionism. And as part of that, what do you think America should be doing in this war with Iran that's going on?
For me, what America is doing is defending Christianity in the Middle East. There used to be a lot of Christians that used to live in the Middle East. You have seen those communities disappear. The Lebanese Christians are gone. You look at the Christians in Iraq, you look at the Christians in Iran, you look at the Christian communities, the Chaldean Christians in Iran, in
Wait,
Iraq.
are you saying Tucker Carlson's wrong when he says that Qatar is a great place to be a Christian?
Well, show me the churches, because they don't let us build churches. And in Saudi Arabia, where's the churches? All those areas used to have a large population of Christians. Where are those Christians? And I've been to the Middle East many, many times, and I have seen the suffering of the Christians. And I have seen, just last month, we had 20, 30,000, 40,000. I don't know how many people the Iran regime killed. And these are people that were just protesting the regime. And so people, I don't see people protesting in the streets like they were protesting for Palestine. And so this is a hypocrisy. It's a double standard, and so it's very upsetting to me when I see people that said nothing about the October 7th, but yet they were so harsh on Israel for defending its people.
So what do you? Israel obviously held back for a lot of reasons after October 7th. The most primary reason being Joe Biden. And, Israel does need America's support, not for war, interestingly, but for peace. Because when we go to war, when Israel goes to war, everyone goes to war. They just call it 400,000 reservists. So it needs America's support for that reason. But what do you think we should be doing, both speaking for Christian Zionists and for Americans? What do you think that these groups should be doing with regard? How should they be feeling? How should they be acting with regard to this war between?
I value human life, and I have been an advocate of Israel for the last 40 years, working with hospitals in Israel. And what I have seen in Israel, it's love for mankind. When people go to the hospitals in Israel, I have never seen them deny services to anybody.
Including terrorists.
I don't know if they're terrorists, because I'm just sitting there watching people come in, and I see the doctors treating everybody the same way. And when I see the holy Christian sites in other parts of the Middle East being desecrated, but yet in Israel, they protect the Christian sites. They protect the Christian churches. It's important for me to stand with Israel, because it's the only ally, the only friend we have in the Middle East.
So should America be involved in this Iranian
Of course, we need to be involved, because we're defending. People talk about democracy, and they have no idea what a democracy is. We're a republic. If we want to go with democracy, people in San Fernando Valley can vote to kick me out of the valley. That's democracy. But thank God, that it's a republic, and we have a constitution that I have a right to be in San Fernando Valley. I'm for Orange County, so we don't allow Orange County
That's
people.
Right.
It's
you get your passport stamp when you go from the South Bay to the city.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous when people talk about democracy, and so I believe that Christians need to stand with the state of Israel.
So what's the goal then of this war from a Christian standpoint, an American Christian standpoint? What's the goal of the war? What do you think the goal is? That's the wrong question. Maybe what do you believe the right goal of this war with Iran should be?
Well, you look at people say, and I just came back from Washington, meeting with the president and over immigration issues. But people outside the White House, they were asking me about Mr. How can a Christian bishop be meeting with the president? And I said, why shouldn't he? And they were asking me about the war, and they said, he started a war, and I said, no, this war was started decades ago.
I would say 1,400 years ago.
But for these people to understand 1,400 years ago is too much. But I said, when this Islamic group that came into power took over Iran, They destroyed Iran. Iran wasn't like this. It used to be a beautiful country where people used to love living there. You don't have freedom in Iran right now, and thank God that that there's an intervention. So this war was not started by Mr. Trump. This was and people say, well, he wants the oil. Well, China and Russia were getting the oil.
That's right.
I say, and you're okay with that?
So I have 2 more questions
Okay.
for you. And we need to remember, as you said, that Israel didn't start this war. America didn't start this war. This has been going on a long time, and at least 47 years directly from Iran.
Right.
I would say 1,400 years from the Quran. One of the challenges that briefly because of timing, one of the challenges we have, and I think in all faiths, is how do we get young people involved back into their faith? Passover is actually about that. It's about the questions of bringing the young person back. How do we get people back involved in their Christian faith? Not in this crazy, let's kill Jews, which is not, I'm sorry, that's not Christian in my mind. How do we get them back involved in their faith tradition? One brief lesson, and then I have another final question.
Oh, I think that it starts at the in the home. Families need to get back into being a cohesive unit, because we have lost the family units.
That's a great answer.
And so I can't do in church what the family's not doing at home.
And Passover is to be celebrated at home.
Correct.
Quick question. We have only a minute left. One word, one phrase. And I ask this of everyone. Define Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez. One word, one phrase. You're teaching for the world. You're who you are.
Justice, mercy, and humility.
That's beautiful. That's truly beautiful, as are you. I'm so grateful you spent some time here. I just love hanging out with you, period. I am so grateful for you being here, for sharing your wisdom. I wish you a Feliz Pascua,
Amen.
a
Amen.
happy Easter,
Amen.
only goodness, kol tov, joy.
He is risen, yes.
And everything good for you and the family and the faith tradition. Everyone have a blessed Easter, a kosher Pesach for what is left of Passover, and Hazak Baruch. May you be strong.
Amen.
May you be blessed. Thank you for being here at the Rabbi's table.
He is risen. Amen.
Amen. So it's important in our tradition that we end any dialogue with holy words, with the words of Torah, with words of spiritual teachings. And I think there's 2 that are really important right now. The first is for all Jews to understand that when someone like Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez comes to you and says you should accept Jesus in your heart, Jesus is not my Savior. He is his. I have not accepted that in my life. But he's doing it out of love, out of pure and full love for me. He wants me to be in heaven with him. So when a real Christian comes to you and says, learn the Gospels or whatever it may be, if you want to say no, say no. But always treasure them. Don't think they're trying to abuse you. The other piece that I think is so important is there's an old teaching from different native cultures that God is the center of a wheel, and there's a big circular wheel around God. And there's spokes from the sides of the wheel into the center of where God is. Each of those spokes, each of those pathways are different religions. Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, all these different paths. And as you get deeper and deeper into any one path, we find that they're more and more similar at their essence. They're about love, humility, peace. And so really that we all need to understand that it's like the colors of a rainbow. We don't want to all be the same. God is more than just being monolithic. We need to appreciate the different colors and have really an experience of the beauty of God, of life, of love, and of peace. I'm Rabbi Michael Barclay. Thank you for joining myself and my dear friend Bishop Juan Carlos Mendez here at the Rabbi's table. We have a blessed week, a Feliz Pascua, a happy Easter, a kosher Pesach, a kosher Passover. Again, we'll see you next week at the table.